check out Facebook.
Yeah, actually, I'll do the same thing.
Yep, there we be.
Okay.
All righty, my friends, and everyone who's out there in Shabbos land, in Los Angeles, and throughout the world, welcome to our services. Glad to be able to share a little tefillah with you. It is Shmini Atzeret, so it's not only good Shabbos, but it's good Yantif. And we're going to have our services this evening. Just a reminder, everyone, our services, when it's Yantif and Shabbat like this, the Kabbalat Shabbat is much shorter. So Cantor Aronoff's going to do a little bit of singing just to kind of get us in the nice little tefillah groove. And then we're going to do Mariv. So Cantor Aronoff.
And then some of us can eat dinner.
And some of us can eat dinner, and some of us have already eaten dinner, man. Life's a funny thing.
Right.
By the way, just want to check. Did you make me host?
Oh, I didn't. Shall I do that?
Why don't we do that?
I will do that right now. Co-host or host? I'm going to do
either.
Co-host. Let's see if co-host works, okay?
Okay.
There we go.
All right, so I'm going to try a little co-hosting, and I'm going to kind of switch some things around. As you start, I'm going to switch to active speaker, and let's see if it actually has you sing. There it goes.
All right. So as Rabbi Bernhard said, it is Shmini Atzeret. The Shmini Atzeret songs are not as good as the few Simchas Torah songs that I would like to do to start us off this evening. So since tomorrow night is Simchat Torah, I'm going to start with a few songs related to that. So the first is Sisu v'simchu v'simchat Torah. Let's all rejoice together on Simchat Torah and give honor, kavod, to God's Torah. Sisu v'simchu v'simchat Torah, utnu kavod la 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 Torah. And, I have two more songs.
Oh, I know. Okay, I'm good.
Indeed, I have two more songs. So the next one is called V'samachta b'chagecha, which this is like I think like a Hasidic tune, maybe even a Chabadnik kind of tune. V'samachta b'chagecha, and it starts off with a nigun kind of stuff. But the words V'samachta b'chagecha v'hayita ach sameach, you should rejoice in your chagim, in your holidays, and really just be happy. Be really happy. Okay, so this is ach sameach, v'samachta b'chagecha, v'hayita ach sameach, v'samachta b'chagecha, v'hayita ach sameach, v'samachta b'chagecha, v'hayita ach sameach, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Nai, 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 ya, na, nai, ya, nai, na, na, nai, 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 la, lai, lai, ya, ai, ya, la, lai, ai, la, lai, ya, la, lai, ya, lai, ya, la, lai. And the last song I thought I would do to sort of open things up this evening is called Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha, which means worship God in happiness. Do you get the theme here? Happiness, joy. That's the theme of this weekend, this whole weekend. So there's a few melodies for this. Let's see. Let's do this one. Ivdu, 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 ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. Ivdu, 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 ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. Bo'u lefanav, lefanav birnana. Bo'u lefanav birnana. Bo'u lefanav, lefanav birnana. Bo'u lefanav birnana. Unfortunately, Rabbi Bernhard, it doesn't work very well when we sing together. So we'll have to wait until we're together in person. So those are just a few songs to introduce us, to get us in the mood for the end of this Chag, the end of a long holiday period.
Yeah. And so we now turn to page 27 for Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat. Can't Aronoff, one technical note I just want to make as we play with the technology is you made me a co-host and I tried to turn on the speaker view, but it still has both of us on the screen on the Zoom on Facebook.
Why don't I make you a host?
Yes, let's try that and see if it has an impact there. If not, it's okay.
All right, I have made you host.
Okay, let's give it a go. So page 27, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat.
Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Lehodot L'Adonai. Tov Lehodot L'Adonai. Ulezamer, ulezamer, L'Shimecha Elyon. Tov Lehodot L'Adonai. Tov Lehodot L'Adonai. Tov Lehodot L'Adonai. Ulezamer, ulezamer, L'Shimecha Elyon. Tov Lehodot L'Adonai. Ulezamer, Lehagi Baboker Chazdecha. Lehagi Baboker Chazdecha. Ve'emunatcha baleilot, ve'emunatcha baleilot. Tov lehodot l'Adonai.
Oh, good night.
Tzadikata amari frach ke'eres balvanon yiske shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu od yenuvun b'seiva deshenim ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי צורי ולא עוולת בו. What do you say we light the candles?
Let us light some candles.
Okay. You know what, Rabbi B? That's the last time we're doing it during services because it's getting earlier candle lighting time.
It is indeed.
Okay, so I'm going to move over so we can actually see the candles as we sing the bracha together, remembering that we sing Shel Shabbat v'Yom Tov, or V'Shel Yom Tov, and we also, amazingly, do Shehachianu again. Nucha. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu
Amen. All righty, my friends. In a moment, we're going to turn to page 39a for the Baruch, the call to worship. But first,
a little Torah.
Oh, I'm going to miss that. So I'd like to begin by sharing something that Lori actually sent me just this afternoon. It was a short quote about Margaret Mead, who is a very famous anthropologist. And it says the following. Years ago, anthropologist Margaret Mead was asked by a student what she considered to be the first sign of civilization in a culture. The student expected Mead to talk about fish hooks or clay pots or grinding stones. But no, Mead said that the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture was a femur, thigh bone, that had been broken and then healed. Mead explained that in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you die. You can't run from danger, get to the river for a drink, or hunt for food. You are meat for prowling beasts. No animal survives a broken leg long enough for the bone to heal. A broken femur that is healed is evidence that someone has taken time to stay with the one who fell, has bound up the wound, has carried the person to safety, and has tended the person through recovery. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts, Mead said. I think about that in the time that we're in right now, in the challenges that we face. And I think about it as we come to this particular time in the year, because in the Jewish calendar, we are coming to the end of the reading of the Torah and the beginning of the reading of the Torah as well. With Simchat Torah, we end with Dvarim, chapter 34, and then right away we begin with Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1. And one of the interesting little fun plays with the text is that the very last sentence or very last phrase at the end of the Torah is Le'enei kol Yisrael, right? It's talking about Moses in the eyes of all Israel. And then the very first words of the Torah, Bereshit bara Elohim, and when God began creating. And there's a fun little Hasidic commentary that notes the following, that the last letter of the Torah is Lamed, and the first letter of the Torah is Bet. And so you put those two together and you get the word Lev, meaning heart. When Margaret Mead says that civilization begins when someone tends to someone else, what she's saying is that you can judge a civilization by the kind of heart that it possesses, by the way people there care for one another, because that is the civilized thing to do, is to care for one another. We don't just worry about ourselves. We understand ourselves within a larger context. We understand as connected to other people. We understand that we have an obligation to see to the welfare of other people. I believe the Torah understands this. I believe the rabbi saw this. And I believe the rabbi who came up with that sweet little drash, that the Torah begins with Lamed, starts with Bet, understanding that the centrality of the Torah is around that of Lev, around the heart that we possess. There are many ways in which people go around judging one another in this world in which we live in, and most of them are junk as far as I'm concerned. Most of the ways that we understand people, most of the ways by which we evaluate them in this false meritocracy that we live in, is by achievement and success and all of these other measures. But the true measure of a person is the Lev that they possess. The true measure of a community is the heart that people within that community show one another. The true measure of a country, of its leaders, and of its citizenry is the way that we act and the sense of obligation that we have with one another. That, as she said, is the beginning of civilization. So why don't we all go out there and try to be civilized? And that, my friends, is our little Torah for today. We now turn to page 39a for the call to worship Baruch Hu. I invite everyone to please rise.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai.
May be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hashir.
El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Shema.
Aravim.
Amen.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael.
Ahavat. Page 40, Ahavat Olam, followed by Shema on page 41.
V'avatcha al tasir mimenu li'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai. Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema
Yisrael.
Adonai Eloheinu
בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לבבך ושיננתם בניך ודיברת בם ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We continue with the second and third paragraphs of the Shema, page 42.
Adonai Elohechem emet v'munach l'v'chem aleinu ki Adonai Eloheinu.
Page 43A.
Umalchuto b'ratzon kiblu alehem Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabah v'yamru chulam mi chamocha va'elim
Adonai mi kamocha nehedar
Malchutcha ra'u banecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze'eli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov u'ki'alo miyad chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai
Shalom.
Yisrael.
Amen. Top of page 45. Ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha baruch ata Adonai. Apone sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Amen.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Shabbos la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'torotam b'olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat
Shabbos.
La'asot et ha-Shabbat le'torotam berit olam B'ni u'b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Oti le'olam אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
Shabbos.
לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
Shabbos.
את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש ביום השביעי, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
Shabbos.
לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רב האמן, ועלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חון וביומי חול וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו 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 אמן. שמי רב המבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמי. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי 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 דקודשה דקודשה בריחו, אלא מכל ברכתה ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה נאמירן בעולמה, ואמרו 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 amen.
We now turn to page 306 for the Amidah for this Shabbat and Shmini Atzeret Yontif. It goes from page 306 to page 314. Just want to mention to people that not only do you have the additions for Shmini Atzeret Simchas Torah and Shabbat, but we do not yet say Mashiv HaRuach or Merid HaGeshem. Not yet. Just warning you. That starts tomorrow. All righty, page 306, the Amidah.
shalom bimroma. Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimroma. Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru
Amen. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Leomei Almaya Yitbarach.
Yitbarach, Vishtabach, Vitpor, Viturma, Mina, Sevita, Darvitila, Vitila, Shmei, Kudisha.
Brichu.
Lami Kol Berchata, Vashirata, Tushbachata, Nechamata, Damiran, Bimavi, Meru.
Amen.
Yitgabel, Floton, Vaton, Tocho Israel, Kodam, Abuhandi, Vishmaya, Vimeru.
Amen.
Yehei, Shlomo, Rabba, Min, Shemaya, Vachaim, Aleinu, V'Kol Yisrael, Vimeru.
Amen.
Ohoseh Shalom, Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu, V'Kol Yisrael, V'Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'yimeru. Amen.
Yeah, I feel much more comfortable letting you do that fancy amen, by the way.
Okay.
All righty, my friends, we now turn to page 79. I invite everyone, if you're not already, to please rise for the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol olam v'rom emanu mikol hashon v'kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava Shabbatot limnucha u'moadim l'simcha Chagim uzmanim l'sason et yom hashabbat hazeh v'et yom hashmini chag ha'atzeret hazeh zeman simchatenu b'ahava mikra kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat u'moadei kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon v'simcha v'sason inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat v'Yisrael v'hazmanim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Amen.
It's your favorite. It's Kerem grape juice.
Ooh. We remain standing now as we turn to page 56, Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach Adon hakol, lateit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu ki goyei aratzot, velo asanu כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמחו כפניהם, וגורל עלינו ככל
לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומשה בקרו בשמיים
ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים הוא אלוהינו כי המלכות שלך היא ולמען תמלוך ככבוד, וכתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We now turn to page 58 for the Mourner's Kaddish. And as we begin this next week, over the course of the following week, members of our congregation will be observing the following yard sites. Those of Roberta Bryman, Tilly Dauber, Judith Baden, Tilly Glick, Milton Gervis, Irvin Gusto, Sophie Katz, Morris Landsman, Shirley Leaf, Hazan Allen Michelson, Phyllis Schechter, Aaron Becker, Sam Chalik, Charles Cabert, Joseph Kreisberg, Herman Ratner, Alexander Siegel, Clara Smith, Aryeh Lieb Friedman, Anita Jarmus, Tippy Cassell, Kaufman, Mort Faberow, Evelyn Goodstein, Jean S. Green, Evan Ross, Sarah Schwartz, Ida Siegel, Sarah Simon, Samuel Stein, Jacob Stern, Julius Beer, Chava Hinda Belfer, Baruch Hirsch Belfer, Selma Cohen, Leon Guide, Ida Herstick, Joseph Libros, Bernice Nyman, Saul Ozrian, Nathan Volk, Olga Altman, Rabbi Bernard Cohen, Bob Friedman, Nathan Goldfarb, Gregory Gordon, Sylvia Landsman, Celia Lazar, Isaiah Lurie, Ezra Mintz, Lloyd Moses, William Green, Judy Hotchkiss, Anna Jones, Abraham Kaplan, Phyllis Kramer, Dolfo Lieberman, Dr. Seymour Mazer, Shirley Wallace, Shmuel Zerner, Sylvia Greenspan, Solbert Handler, Jacob Hodes, Rana Lynn Samuels, Janet Schreiber, Shirley Wizen, Malka Winger, Carol Greer, Samuel Kaddish, and Shirley Neinstein. We now turn to page 58, and once again, I invite anyone who's currently reciting the Mourner's Kaddish or observing yard site to please rise and join with me. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam lo me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ilah min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom ben Ramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. In a moment, we're going to be turning to page 211. Are we going with the Don Alum this night? Okay, so page 211 for Don Alum. Before we do that, just a few quick acknowledgments. First, want to thank my partner in crime, Cantor Aronoff, for leading us so beautifully in Kabbalat Shabbat and in Mariv and everything. Thank you very much, Cantor. Beautifully done. Want to just remind everyone of some of the upcoming events that are happening. In this case, I'm going to kind of focus on this weekend. So tomorrow morning, we have Shmini Atzeret and Shabbat morning services, 9:30. Yisker will be included within those services. Then tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we begin Simchas Torah. And, obviously it's going to be a little different because we can't be together passing around the Torah and all that stuff. But we have some fun stuff planned, and we invite everyone to join us. We have the Naranana band there. We have some families who are going to be joining us and going to be leading us in some fun dancing. So it should be a fun time. And we are going to be live streaming that out through our Facebook page and all the way that we do it tonight. And then on Sunday morning, starting at 9:30, we have our morning service for Simchas Torah. And that one, we're going to be live streaming out in the same way that we're doing now, but we also attached both in the latest email that we sent out, and we will post it on our Facebook page, and we'll put it in the comments, an opportunity that if you want to join us in the Zoom room, like with the Cantor and I and with Rabbi Yarkin kind of all together, we're going to send out a Zoom link to this space for everyone to join us. It's going to be a separate Zoom link from anything that we've shared before. It's going to be its own little unique little Zoom link for this particular service. So keep your eyes open for that because we hope that you'll join us. I think that's all I'm going to be focused on for now, if that's okay by you, Cantor enough. But do you have something you'd want to announce?
I always do. So first of all, there was an email that went out from my desk today, which included that link that Rabbi Bernhard was just talking about, that Zoom link. And it also includes a link to a video that I participated in that many cantors from the Cantors Assembly participated in. It was a song that we all recorded individually and edited together, just like you saw us do for the high holidays, with many other, so there were many of us who did this, or probably over 100 people who did this, both cantors and Black music ministers who did this as a show of unity, and it was a great piece. It was a fun experience to do. So I encourage you to look for that. And in just 2 weeks from Sunday night, we have the honor and pleasure of being treated to a live concert on the internet, virtually, by the great and wonderful David Broza. So I encourage you to look for information for that on our website. More information will be coming out this coming week, and it'll be great.
Cool. All righty. So my friends, page 211, Adon Olam.
So I want to use a song that we started with. Remember, I started with Sisu Besimchu Besimchat Torah. Remember when I did that around 6 o'clock? So we're going to use that song, that melody, which goes to the words, let's rejoice and be happy on Simchat Torah. And it'll probably fit to Adon Olam. So let's see. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra li'ein asa b'cheptzo kol azay melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora v'hu haya v'hu oben v'hu yeh b'tifara v'hu echad v'yein sheni lehamshilo lehachbira v'li reishit v'li tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'hamizrach v'hu eli v'chai goali v'tzur chevli b'yetzara v'hu nisi umanosli v'nad kosi b'yam ekra v'yado avki ruchi v'yeti shan v'yahira v'im ruchi gebiati Adonai li ve'lo ira. Shabbat shalom and Chag Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom, Hag Sameach, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you over the course of the weekend. Take care, everybody.